My 26F husband, 32M, doesn't get why I'm so upset about race and politics. I'm a black woman. I knew that this could have been an issue when we first started dating. My husband is the kind of person that voted for Obama twice and then voted for Trump for shits and giggles. Of course, he voted for Biden this time around, but he really just doesn't understand the gravity of his civic choices. His family are all ardent Trump supporters and, in my mind, conspiracy theorists. My father-in-law recently told me that he would rather his family die in the rapture from COVID than accept the mark of the beast, the vaccine. He then looked me square in the eye and said, "Hell is a real place." Over the Thanksgiving holiday, my brother-in-law called my son and I the N-word over and over again in an angry text rant, saying that my husband lost his family the minute he married me. My husband now admits that the N-word was spoken regularly in his house growing up by his father and his brothers, also my husband. I'm realizing that I married into a racist family that I initially thought was just a family of conservative Christians. I'm the opposite. I'm bisexual, liberal, grew up in an intentionally agnostic household. I work in state government, and went to a liberal arts college. I have always been a firm believer that two people with different political backgrounds can get along and love each other, but this is starting to put a strain on our marriage, which was already somewhat rocky, to be completely honest. Last night, we got into a major fight while I was trying to put our 11-month-old to bed. He was saying that the domestic terrorists we saw at the Capitol 2 days ago were just as bad as Black Lives Matter protesters. Tensions have been high with his family the last few days because of this issue. I don't hold back my opinions on social media. I told him of course he thinks that, when he grew up in a racist family. That set him off and he started yelling about how I'm too opinionated about this stuff and I'm ignorant because I can't say people are racist just because they voted for Trump. I explained that there were a lot of other reasons for me to think they were racist. I started crying because I became overwhelmed with the fact that I continually have to explain myself and why racism affects me so deeply. Also, I'm 10 weeks pregnant, so that adds to my emotional strain. I said that I don't want to talk to his family anymore and he said that my behavior was disgusting and selfish, and that I didn't know how family works because I'm an only child. I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to explain to him why I am so deeply affected by the chaos percolating in this country. I've tried over and over again and it turns into an argument every time. How to address this? This is the hill I will die on. People who are fundamentally opposed in their values and beliefs cannot sustain their relationships. Please leave. You're setting your son and your unborn baby up for years of mental, racist abuse. You are a strong and beautiful black woman and this man doesn't see your skin as a part of who you are. Please get somewhere safe and get a divorce. He will never stand up to them. They called his child the N-word. An innocent baby and didn't do a damn thing. He should have thrown the whole damn family away. I can't imagine seeing how hurt my partner is and not wanting to understand where that pain is coming from. Your husband and family sound horrible and callous. And hopefully your husband is acting this way because of torn loyalty between you and his close-knit family. As someone mentioned, I'd recommend couples counseling. See if he is willing to work on finding a way to communicate his feelings about family while also understanding how horrible and demeaning racist comments are. That being said, I am having a hard time seeing how you stay with someone who doesn't punch out, or at least cut from his life, anyone uses the N-word that is directed at his wife. I feel for you. This is a horrible situation to deal with, especially while pregnant. I mean, you married a racist, brought up that way. He thinks he's right. In my experience, interracial relationships only work when both partners try to understand their biases and do whatever they can to put them in the past. The relationships work when partners don't accuse the other person of being selfish or obstinate. When they listen to each other. He is none of those things. He wants to be none of those things. Couples counseling may work. I would consider individual therapy, as well. The amount of stress you're under is just heartbreaking. I can't imagine what this is like. You deserve to be in a safe and loving home. Hey babe. I've dated men like him before. Please leave. He thinks he's an exception to his racist family when he is just as racist via complicity. Like I cannot imagine staying with a man who didn't cut off his family after calling me and my child the N-word. This will be hard, but please leave him. For your sake and for your children's sake. Fuck this. Not worth the upward battle. Sounds like he lied to you in the beginning if you're just finding out about him using the N-word and such. That small, huge lie set him up just fine, but now when things get serious and they negatively affect you, he doesn't care and seems pissed even. I would address this with a divorce lawyer. Also go for full custody cause your mixed kids do not need to be around this racist nonsense. Sounds like you should file for divorce. This is too much, I'm stressed for you. My wife is half black. This last year has been heavy in her heart and I've been next to her every step of the way. Reading books to connect with the pulse. Eye-opening stuff. Your hubby needs to decide to be with you. He needs to have your back and willing to stand in front of you to protect you. When we were younger, my mom made me choose between my wife, girlfriend then, and her. I left with my girlfriend. I'm Hispanic and they look pretty Hispanic, but they are part black. That's part of their identity and I'm respectful of that. It means something. I know you're pregnant. Emotions do run stronger during this. But his family calling you the N-word is out of line. That's where I would tell my family off and turn my back on them. You married a racist, and you're a black woman. I think this is a no-brainer. I'm a white woman who holds strong beliefs about anti-racism, feminism, etc. My ex, like yours, hid his racist and misogynist beliefs until after we were married. There were other issues too, but it all came to a head with Trump's rise, and we divorced in 2018. I tried for years to reason with him, but he didn't want to change. My guess is you're heading down the same road. My life, and the lives of my daughters, would have been better served by not trying to reason with him, and just getting the hell away from him. Good luck to you. Girl, you bout to bring your children up with a racist father. And endure gaslighting and racism that equates BLM with terrorists trying to overturn a government. The things that you notice early on in your relationship, that are issues, arguments, are the things that will be the reason for the end of your relationship. Have respect for yourself as a black woman and honor and protect your black children from having to grow up in an environment that will fill them with self-hate and anti-blackness that will in turn hurt other black children growing up around them. You know what you have to do. Sweetheart, you married a racist. Get out. He doesn't plan on changing, not even for his children or the mother of his children. Leave. What kind of man allows his family to call his wife and child the N-word? You need to leave. I'm realizing that I married into a racist family that I initially thought was just a family of conservative Christians. Sorry, op, but this made me snort. Insert the "they're the same thing" meme here. You married a racist, and you're about to bring a black child into his racist family. Genuinely, I don't know what you were expecting to come from this. Your husband is a racist, the father of your children is a racist. Divorce that shit before him and his family negatively affect you and your kids. I'm realizing that I married into a racist family that I initially thought was just a family of conservative Christians. It's weird how you had the answer all along, but refused to see it. Which is basically exactly what he is doing too. Conservative Christians. Racist family. Let me get that, Pam Beasley, it's the same picture, meme out. Husband's family is racist. Husband is probably racist as well. Oh well, let's get married and have kids. Surprised Pikachu face. Time to start talking with a divorce lawyer. Do you really want to continue this relationship? Do you want to raise your children around racists? It seems like he's not gonna leave his family or change. If you raise your kids around them, they'll grow to tolerate and deal with racism or even normalize it. That's not right and they don't deserve that. You and your kids deserve to be happy and safe. Your husband and his family are providing the opposite. You have to leave. This situation is completely unfair to your child and you. Opinions of the Capitol BLM riots aside, the guy's brother used slurs against you and your son in an attempt to put you beneath him. If my sibling said that shit to my wife and kid, I would smack the fuck out of him. It's obviously business as usual for your husband, though. Time to go. Wow. I'm so sorry that you are so close to the racism and ignorance that is tearing this country apart. The first thing I'd do is to never be around your in-laws. Secondly, I don't know that your husband will ever get why you feel as you do. Not sure if this relationship is salvageable, but it needs to start with couples counseling. If hubby won't do it, seek out your family and friend for support and build a new life. I don't think couples counseling would resolve this in the long run because it's just different ideologies and values clashing. This just has incompatibility written all over it. Bottom line, op, leave. I'm sorry you are going through this. Don't set yourself and your kids up for years of emotional and mental abuse and distress. You cannot change your husband, so please don't stick it out and hope that one day he will change for you or the kids. He actually showed you who he is, and it seems like you cannot accept that. So take him at face value and put yourself first and foremost. So sorry again that you didn't find this out before you actually married him. But, better now than any later down the road. Good luck. Asking Reddit about this topic isn't the best idea. There must be reasons why you chose to marry this man, and they aren't conveyed here. I recommend couples therapy for starters. Communication will hopefully unlock some empathy from your partner. Best of luck. Tough subject. You and your son are not safe with him or his family. That he married a black woman without ever looking into racial issues and had no problem bringing you into his family without warning you, or going LC with them, are all kinds of bright flashing red flags about 100 feet tall. I think you should document all this and use it as a case for primary custody, as your biracial son needs to be protected from this. Your husband is the one who doesn't understand family. He should be putting his wife and child first and refuses to do so. Your husband is racist and his whole family is racist, and you will never convince them to change, not ever. They don't respect you at all. Please leave for the sake of your children. Why are you with him? I don't understand why would want to be with someone who opposes the most basic things you believe in. How could you be with someone who doesn't support you having equal civil rights? Sounds like a lot to deal with every day. I am a biracial adult, raised by a single white mother. She brought partners into her life that regularly used the N-word. I am estranged from her as an adult. To my mind, she failed to protect me. Do not subject your children to this. It will have lifelong, life-altering effects. Am I a reasonably well-adjusted, successful, happy adult now? Sure. In the back of my mind, do I still wonder why she did not care or love me enough to protect me as much as she could from racism and bigotry? All the time. Doesn't sound like you guys are good at communicating, tbh. Do you want to continue to be in a family that calls your children the N-word? Because they do. Two people with different political backgrounds can have a perfectly fine relationship. Your husband's family isn't a matter of Democrat versus Republican, they are just flat-out racists, and it doesn't sound like they are willing to change. This is one case where I'd argue get out now. Imho, you deserve better. There's a base level of respect and safety that's expected in a marriage, and if you're black and he's racist, then it will always be missing. I'm a white woman married to a black man. No white person can ever totally get it, but there is a big fucking duty for white people who marry a POC to have a very open mind and be willing to listen and try to understand, in addition to doing their own work on their understanding. I don't know what to tell you, hun. You have 2 children with this man. So you can't fully detach your life from him. But I agree with other posters that this is bad for you, your kids as it stands. Perhaps try some serious counseling to see if you can get through to him. Hugs. This is a tough situation and I'm sorry you have to deal with it. Is your question, how do you communicate with your husband how you feel? You don't. You leave. His brother called you the N-word and he didn't immediately cut his brother off. Guess why? It's because your husband thinks you are one. You're living the plot of Get Out. Do as the title of the film says and get the fuck out. Just as bad as Black Lives Matter protesters. Okay, that would be a red flag the size of Texas to me, if not a deal breaker. I'm a Gen X white woman and it would be a flag to me. Think hard if you want to have 2 children with this person. Just because someone marries a person of color, doesn't mean they're not racist. It doesn't sound like your husband is doing anything awful like his family is. I would just sit down and you both dedicate a night to discussing this and present your ideas and values all up front and what you find important and why. I don't have much advice, but I just want to ask you to not give up on the idea that people with different political backgrounds can get along. I'm more on the conservative side of things, but I would love to have opinionated friends like you. Good luck. Less than 3. Please leave him, if not for you then for your kids. The fact that his family called you the N-word is abhorrent, especially if he's defending their racist actions rather than his own wife and children. In my experience, conservative Christian pretty much always means racist. You have to leave him. You're a black woman living with a racist. I would get out of there. Because, no matter what, even if things went well with him, worked out, miraculously, which won't happen, his family is still always going to loathe you. Nothing is going to change their ways. And that's always going to reflect badly onto you plus your little ones. Of course, it's not his brother calling his child the N-word that makes them racist. But voting for Trump. I wouldn't have the patience. Sorry for what you're going through, I'd recommend getting out of there. Is this real? Why did you marry him if you know he voted for Trump? Only like 52% of white guys voted for Trump, man. You should start making plans to leave. I say this as someone as a similar boat, considering making the same plans. I just want to point out that you voted for Biden, who had proven himself to be racist throughout his life with his words and actions. So I don't know what to tell you. You address this by divorcing him, gaining custody of your children, and making as sure as possible that they don't have the horrific views of their paternal family hurled at them as they grow up. There's no saving this. It's not lack of understanding or experience. It's lack of empathy, self-centeredness, and comfort in the way things are and how they benefit him. I also have a hard time believing he could have voted for Biden but yet hold such opinions about the violent events at the Capitol, disdain for BLM, and still defend Trump supporters. It doesn't matter at this point, but unless he showed you his ballot voting for Biden, I don't believe he did. Nothing about his views or reactions to events demonstrate any disagreement with Trump and his behavior. Get out now. Just get out. He's a creep. I'm realizing that I married into a racist family that I initially thought was just a family of conservative Christians. Two sides of the same coin. Did your husband show any racist behavior when you were dating, or earlier in your marriage? If, a few weeks ago, someone would have asked you, is he racist? What would you have said? Presumably you'd have said no? Do you think he is a racist now?